The following is a presentation of TFNN. Live at TFNN, the Power Trading Hour, with your host, David White. Now, the author of The Path of Least Resistance and the Tech Insider, David White.
Good afternoon. It's a gorgeous Monday, April 23rd. And as always, we kind of try to start off the show with what kind of day it is. It's always a national day, just about every day. Someone has something they're celebrating. And today it's Talk Like Shakespeare Day. The lady doth protest too much, methinks. Anyway, often misquoted, Shakespeare. I wonder why people actually talk that way. Probably because they had no TV. Everybody was like their own little TV or radio show. They were all trying to impress each other because, of course, all they had was dirt and mud. But that's just a thought. But I have a feeling when there wasn't anything and no magazines to look at, and the only book you got was probably edited by the king, probably not a bad deal to go and see a bunch of people act up with the limelights, and hopefully you got out of the theater without it burning down to the floor, of course, because they had all those actual limelights. So, kind of interesting. We're going right on a beautiful Monday, actually a crisp Monday. I was just talking to Steve Rhodes before the show. Actually very cool down here for end of April. But tonight we've got Texas Instruments and Netflix after the bell. Tomorrow, Apple, 3M, AT&T. Wednesday, Boeing, Cat, and Sprint. Thursday, Exxon, Amazon, and Coinstar. Friday, Chevron, Merck, and P&G. So there's probably about another 100, 200 stocks also reporting, but those are kind of the big ones. Going to be the big one probably is going to be tomorrow night on Tuesday for Apple. We've got a lot of cross currents, and I actually sold some longs. We had one we were in about 25.20 or better, and sold for 29 and a quarter or better, I think, on Thursday. I had some other ones that kind of a little up, little down, got out of the rest of them on Thursday. Kind of waiting for this market to shake out. One, we had expiration on Friday. We've got options rollover today and probably most of the morning tomorrow. FOMC meeting starts tomorrow. It's a two-dayer, so we get out on Wednesday about 1 o'clock, 1:15, something like that for the message on it. I suspect that between that, Apple earnings, probably going to have a lot of pushing around. And now that we've started this pull down, the logical thing would be to test the last low, which is at 1346, 1433, something like that. So we've got maybe another 20 points down. I wouldn't be surprised to see it drift extremely lower on light volume over these next 2 days in the FOMC meetings. And maybe some more news from foreign countries. Talking to Steve Rhodes, like I said just before the show, both kind of amazed about how, if you read the articles on France, you would have thought the election was over. And it's going on to May 6th or May 9th or something. Kind of funny how that whole thing works over there. I thought that, you have election, you have a winner. Well, no, they're going to be running off and having high tea and doing all kinds of stuff. I just wished it would have been over. But kind of interesting, 28% to 25%, not a ringing endorsement, kind of the last man standing. My understanding is that the gal who, I guess her first name's Maureen over there, got 10% of the vote, and she's on the right-wing side, so if she's not in the next round, that most of those people would go to Sarkozy, and maybe he'll win. So maybe it's as not over as they would like to think. Maybe the fat lady has not sung. Maybe she won't. Anyway, we've got lots of earnings this week. We've got earnings. We've got options rollover today and tomorrow. We've got FOMC tomorrow and Wednesday. We've got earnings out the wazoo. I always like that out the wazoo ad, if anybody remembers that CNBC ad. But it was out there. Now, in the news, there's some things I've got to give a warning. And it seemed somewhat driven by news. There's a company called Liquid Metal Technologies. They are an over-the-counter stock, and I'm not real sure if they are a scam or not. From what I've read, the previous CEO ended up going to jail for manipulating the stock price before. That being said, it is a real technology. It's called liquid metal, and it is zirconium, titanium, nickel, copper, and other metals. And it actually has a structure much like glass. In fact, if you look at any old homes, they're like 150 years old that still have the original glass in it. You get that glass that has that kind of wavy formation. That's because actual glass is still a liquid or acts like a liquid over time and will continue to kindly drip down. Not much, but a little over time. And this gives the structure of a alloy a lot of the characteristics of glass. Extremely smooth. And also you can inject it much like plastic, where most metals are not injectable and still have a very smooth consistency and feel to them, like plastic. The idea is to make a more armored cell phone, and the news on this liquid metal took the company from, I think, 24 cents to 40 cents on Friday, but there were a lot of self-serving press articles. I dug into this a little bit farther and found out that they've been used before, but their licensing fee is in totality is around $10 million. And it's just a handful of people working at a very, very small company. I don't think there's anything really there. And that the previous CEO went to the slammer for manipulating this stock before makes me take pause. So pretty cool technology. Probably no money to be made in the market for it, but just be aware that a lot of people are pushing this kind of stuff out. Also, since kind of waiting to see how this market closes out here, off 14 on the S&P as we actually off 13 on the S&P as we speak now. You can give us a call at 877-927-6648 and give me a ring, and we'll talk about your particular stock. Other things that I found in the news, fairly interesting article. Kringley is a gentleman that wrote the rumors column in PC World for about 20 years. He was the 13th employee of Apple. I've read his stuff. If you ever want to invest in technology, I think his book, Accidental Empires, is absolutely must-reading if you want to really understand how technology seems to work most of the time in Silicon Valley. But he had a special fax and message line where people inside the company, where they were doing really stupid stuff, you could always call them and leave information on it. And he was a fairly decent, I could say, journalist, and he would check and make multiple source any of the stuff that he had before it came out. He was very good at telling a lot of people a lot of things. In IBM about 7 years ago, he actually changed IBM's business plan by coming out with it about 2 weeks before they were talking about it. Once they found out, people found out about it before they could implement it, they had to backpedal on it. And he writes about that this week. But apparently Kringley's got his hand on a document that seems real, where IBM is planning to axe 78% of all U.S. employees and offshore any of the work to foreign countries where they can actually have less than half the earnings. If this actually happens, IBM probably not very loved from what I can tell already. I'm thinking this may be the way that Dell decided to figure out they were going to make money, and it worked for a very short amount of time till everybody got tired of talking to somebody in India that could never help them. And I guess this is IBM's plan, is the Dell plan. We're just going to source people to India and other countries until we can actually make the amount of money and get to our $20 a share growth earnings if we have to fire everybody to do it. But apparently that's the current plan at IBM. It'll be kind of interesting to see whether or not now this has come out before they can actually implement it, if that's going to change people's view on the world of IBM. But not uncommon to see this kind of stuff out here. Also, let me see if I can get here. And let's see, I was just checking the den here real quick. Some people are napping, apparently. Now we have, let's see, 8 IPOs out this week on the U.S. Indexes. The first one is Acuity Group, which symbol is going to be AQ. They provide e-commerce and online marketing and consulting for consumer brands. They plan to raise $50 million, so pretty much tiny IPO for AQ. The next one is Ares Commercial Real Estate, ACRE. They are a REIT focused on middle market commercial real estate assets. They plan to raise $150 million. Still not a whole lot. 7.7 million shares, about 18 to 20 bucks, something like 19 to 20 bucks. So Ares. Edgen Group, EDG, is a global distributor of specialty products to the oil and natural gas markets. They plan to raise $225 million. At least there's one here worth going public on, or at least more worth than those other tiny IPOs, offering 15 million shares, somewhere between $14 and $16 million. Edgen Group, oil and natural gas, maybe one to put on a radar long term out here. Intercom, which I've never found a way to actually pronounce this, developed a process that converts municipal waste into cellulosic acid. Plans to raise $131 million by offering 7.3 million shares at 17 to 19. NRKM, Envio, which enables network providers to deliver high-quality video across multiple devices, $85 million, 7.8 million shares, range $10 to $12. ENVI. Luca Technologies, which I think was actually supposed to come out 2 weeks ago, has been delayed and is coming out this week, or supposed to come out this week. LUCA uses biotechnology to create and produce coal bed methane, or natural gas. Plans to raise $102 million by offering 8.5 million shares at a price of 11 to 13. So we have Luca, Supermus Pharmaceuticals, a former subsidiary that went private, coming back, Epsilec, I can't even say it, epilepsy drugs and ADHD drugs. Plans to raise $75 million, offer 5.8 million shares between 12 and 14. SUPN on that one. So we've got a lot of IPOs out this week. When we come back, we'll talk about Android's percentage of the market. And then we'll get on some stocks. Give me a call, 877-927-6648.
Here's what people are saying about Tiger TV.
Let's go to John in Tampa. Hey, John, what's going on?
Hi, Tom. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. You having a good day out there?
A wonderful day. I love your Tiger TV. I watch it every day. I'm like a kid in a candy store.
Oh, man, I appreciate you out there watching it. How long have you been watching the Tiger TV?
I'm watching almost a month now, and it's just wonderful.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's cool. You see the charts and everything. Thanks so much for the hard work.
Tiger TV, a great news service from TFNN.com. TFNN is proud to bring you the cutting edge of investment newsletters. Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks. Ken is a top-down investor who lets price and volume in the major stock indices tell him when to be in the market and when to be out. By using his unique blend of fundamental and technical analysis, Ken will protect your hard-earned capital while realizing breakout gains. Go to TFNN.com today, click Investment Newsletters, and get Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks free for 2 weeks.
You take a hands-on approach to managing your investment strategy. You're always looking for the next trading opportunity to magnify your perspective. Direction Shares connects sophisticated traders with a powerful array of ETFs from a wide range of asset classes. The markets may go up and down, and you want tools for both sides of the trade. Discover how we can help at DirectionShares.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction Shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors employing dynamic strategies. Investors in the fund should understand the consequences of seeking daily investment results, understand the risk of shorting, and intend to actively monitor and manage their investments. Distributor Foresight Fund Services, LLC.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, co-host of The Money Masters with Tom O'Brien, seen daily at TFNN.com, author of Mastering Probabilities, a daily investment and trading newsletter, and teacher of the money game. Studies show that 3 out of 5 people are afraid for their life in trading these markets, and the number one reason given is fear of loss. Look, fear stands for false evidence appearing real, and the money game proves it. Lesson number 1, don't risk more than 1% of your trading capital on any trade. Why, you ask? Because 35 trades in a row where you risk 50 cents and make $1 are all you need to double your trading capital, versus the 230 losing trades in a row you would need to bring your balance to $100. Let me teach you more about the money game risk-free for 30 days. Go to the homepage of TFNN.com and click on my name, Steve Rhodes, for your 30-day risk-free trial. You were born to be a money master, and I'll teach you how.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
This segment is brought to you by Goldfields. For more information, just click the Goldfields banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And yes, it's actually a little cool down here in Florida. It's kind of interesting. I imagine if I went down to the beach, I'd probably find that most of the Frenchmen that weigh about 300 pounds and like to wear the Speedo of an 18-year-old are gone. And, of course, probably not a bad thing. It's a good time to see a lot of the vacationers go away, a little less traffic, and a little bit more beach to myself. Of course, we got to think about me, don't we? Just a little bit. Anyway, wanted to get back to it. If we were talking about a lot of the companies going public. One of the other things has been how fast Android tablets have come along. You would think that no one actually has one, but a study came out from Javelin Strategy this week, or actually on Friday, and found out that among the 16 million U.S. tablet owners, 42% are owned an Android tablet of some kind, while iPad's still left with 55%. And you're probably saying, well, that's a little weird out there, but some people own multiples, like a Kindle and a iPad, or a Kindle and an Android tablet or something. But 42% to 55% still seems a whole lot. I thought, if you would listen to the people talking, I think it was 75, 80, 42% to 55 really tells me that a lot of those little Kindles and other light readers and some of the other ones have actually made them. I haven't bought mine. I suspect that the much like the Android phones that really came along with the advent of their 4.0 version of Ice Cream Sandwich last fall, is exactly the same kind of thing that we're looking for here. And according to the guys at Google, they say that they have the iPhone killer in new software coming out around the September timeframe. So we'll be continuing to watch for that. Yeah, I guess I have to say, someone said in the den they don't really advertise Android phones, but it's kind of, or Android tablets, but it's a little different. It's very strange, though, but apparently they did a huge survey. It wasn't one of these where they asked like 5 people. Looked actually fairly decent to me, but Javelin Strategy, probably can Google that and find the same thing I found. But kind of interesting. Again, you can give us a call, 877-927-6648 on this beautiful day. And we're going to start getting into some other things. One is going to be stocks that look like they're making interesting patterns out here. We've been talking a lot about IPOs and actually talked about all the new 8 IPOs that are coming out this week. One or two of them sound kind of interesting. Almost all of them are sliver deals. I suspect that most of them are going to have the same kind of problems that we've seen in others like Pandora and what's the other one that sends you emails about all the stuff locally? Oh, kind of brain fade at the moment. But I do want to go to one that actually doesn't look too bad. That is Michael Kors. I know one came out that was in the luggage arena last week. This one actually kind of interesting is it's one of the ones that has done well, and it's actually made a fairly decent pattern. Probably need to be looking at this as it kind of fills and comes back and fills this gap. Let's see when it went public out here. Went public on the 15th of December and about $25. It kind of meandered all the way up. It's been doing a nice long consolidation, but broke out with some decent volume on the 14th of February. Made a nice little gap up here of, $5 or so. That gap is on fairly decent volume for what's been out there, about 11 million shares. It's kind of now coming back into this range one more time, and had kind of a nice little bounce out of here today. But I think that this thing's going to make its way maybe back down to about $38, maybe $37. And at that point, when it fills about halfway of that gap, it'd be very interesting to see what the volume is. We are looking at the volume today being probably about 3.5 million shares by the end of the day. And we'll have to take a look at that. But that's one of the first ones that hit my radar out here of those IPOs. Looks like probably 1 out of 20 is something probably worth following right now. Maybe one day some of these will be that. When we get back, we'll be looking at a lot of other stocks and previewing what we'll see tonight. Netflix, Apple, they're all coming for us in the next couple of days.
In just December of last year, the price of gold was down over 10%. In today's highly volatile gold market, you need someone in your corner that understands the complex relationships that exist within the price of gold, as well as within a variety of gold equities. Whether it's the South African gold miners and knowing how the Rand-dollar relationship will affect their bottom line, or understanding how John Paulson's $5 billion trade in the GLD can move the market, Tom O'Brien gives you the direction you need to become a better trader each week in his newsletter, The Gold Report. With over 20 individual equities covered and almost another 20 on the potential watch list each week, in addition to covering the XAU, HUI, GLD, and dollar, The Gold Report is a great source for any trader that is looking to be diversified in today's volatile gold market. For your 30-day free trial to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report, log on to TFNN.com today. Don't miss out on this great offer. Act now. You've heard Tom O'Brien on the air, and you've always thought about trying out his newsletter, Market Insights. Well, now is the perfect time. For a limited time only, when you sign up for a 2-week free trial to Market Insights, we'll send you a free copy of Tom O'Brien's best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System. If you decide to cancel within the 2-week trial period, pay absolutely nothing and keep Tom's book as a free gift from us. Tom sends out his daily newsletter each morning by 9:30 a.m. with trade recommendations, including price targets and price stops. As recently as March 21st, Market Insights subscribers closed out a position for more than a 25% profit in just over 2 weeks. To get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights, along with your free copy of The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, visit the front page of TFNN.com. Supplies are limited for this one-of-a-kind special, so act today and don't let this opportunity pass you by. Offer only valid for new subscribers.
What type of investor are you? Conservative, moderate, or aggressive? No matter your investor personality, your overall portfolio should reflect your financial goals, time horizon, and your risk tolerance. Help ensure your portfolio is appropriately invested with an asset allocation plan from Morgan Stanley Smith Barney. Simply picking the right stocks is not enough. Research has shown that choosing the right proportion of stocks, bonds, and cash is essential to the success of your long-term investments. Morgan Stanley Smith Barney believes that a carefully selected portfolio can lower volatility and increase investment return potential. Find out about what asset allocation and the Morgan Stanley Smith Barney financial advisor can do for you. Call Angela O'Brien, First Vice President and Certified Financial Planner of the Clearwater, Florida branch at 727-441-6108 today to discuss your personal financial needs. Asset allocation does not assure a profit or protect against loss in declining financial markets. Investments and services are offered through Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, LLC. Member SIPC.
Are you looking for a precision edge in the market? Something that can stack the odds in your favor? Then look into Larry Pesavento's new trading newsletter, Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind. In each weekly issue, Larry explains what's going to happen in the markets based on the pattern he sees developing and gives you actionable trade ideas based on those patterns. Plus, you'll get his detailed analysis on a variety of markets and sectors, including stocks, treasury bonds, the gold market, oil, the dollar, the forex market, and more. And you'll get the Technical Corner segment, which is a short but powerful weekly training session on trading. You'll get access to all the patterns Larry is seeing in the markets, plus the Astro Harmonics and powerful Bradley stock market model that Larry utilizes for less than $5 a day. An extremely potent combination that will give you just the edge you've been looking for. Try Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind absolutely free for 2 weeks. Go to TFNN.com and click on the free trial link at the top of the page. That's an $85 value, yours free when you register right now. Get Larry's Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind and get the edge you've been looking for.
This segment is brought to you by Direction Shares. To learn more about technical tools for the sophisticated active investor, hit the Direction Shares banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And as we come back, going to take a quick look in the den here, see if we have anything going on. Everybody's kind of looking to see how this market closes out. Down 11.5 on the S&P, 28 on the NASDAQ, 109 on the Dow. We're just turning now about 3 billion shares. Not a real good indication that we have a lot of weakness lower. I would still love this thing on lighter volume over the next 2 days, the FOMC meetings and some of these earnings. I'd love to see this thing down about 1346, and I think we'd have one whale of a buy. One of the ones that someone called in with that I wanted to check on when this thing did get back to the about $7.40 level was AMD. AMD's came back. Probably would like to see the volume a little lower. It is testing the last high volume low of April 10th. At 16 million shares, we already have 17 or more million shares on it today. So not a good signal out here to actually have a decent buy. They did have kind of a nice little $7.70 high on March 1st out here with 19 million shares. So you could almost say this thing was coming underneath support on lighter volume. But what you would really have liked to seen is, about 9 million shares on AMD today. I suspect that they're probably going to have yet a little bit more pullback. They announced their new chips, I think, around the 15th or 14th of next month. Let's see if that's actually a day. Let's see, April, May. Yeah, it's Tuesday of May. They're supposed to roll out their next chips. So they may have a little bit of pullback, especially in this weakness. Again, not owned a lot heavily by as institution as, let's say, Intel, with a lot of people out there supporting it because they're under a $10 stock. If this everything could close consistently above $10, it could get a lot of institutional support that it doesn't have now in those funds. We're going to look at some other stocks and see how they fared today after making some interesting signals out here. One of them is Ace Limited. Tried to actually bust above on heavier volume, which was one of the few out here that has done that. Symbol is ACE. You had a nice high out here on February 7th with 1.8 million shares in the mid $74 range. Just about 6 cents higher than that one on April 2nd with 1.5 million shares. On what would have been Thursday last week, 3.1 million shares. It did close above it very briefly out here with 3 million shares on Friday. Coming into today, very light volume on the pullback. This is one of the few out here that has actually held up at these highs. Probably a good one to be watching out here to see whether or not we get a turn in the marketplace and whether that wants to continue running higher. Let's see, what else do we have? There are a lot of stocks out here kind of trying to make and beat out a low. One of the other ones I liked was ARCO. Had a nice little low out here at $17.62, 4.8 million shares. Pretty much did that, but couldn't break it on March 6th with 5.1 million shares. But last week on Thursday, a very low volume day that spiked down into their April 19th, $17.32, 2.4 million shares. And as long as it holds above that $17.62 level, which looks like support, you might like to see this thing maybe just consolidate a little bit more, but not a bad little setup out here, giving a fairly decent signal that Arcos Dorados is actually making a little bit of a bottom. Crocs, the footwear company, actually kind of interesting out here. It's been banging away at this gap, now coming into it for the third time. Wanted to see what kind of volume actually was coming in for CROX. The footwear company, of course, they just had a miserable earnings report on the back in October. Was that about like October 18th? You'll see that huge gap down where they've got slaughtered. They've been consolidating up to about the $22 level ever since then. They've had three highs. The first one on February 16th, $21.54, 2.1 million shares. 3.1 million shares on March 27th. Up to $22.40. Then we saw Friday up here, kind of a light volume test of it, 1.9 million shares, but really not backing away from it that much today as we see these things, some of these stocks actually showing a little bit of strength. Again, I suspect that we're going to have at least a couple more days to look at these stocks and have maybe a little weakness or light volume or even a stutter step into the FOMC meeting, but once that's over, I suspect we're probably going to, if the volume continues like this, we're probably going to have a great little way to pop out and go higher in this market. I guess you could make an argument that we've had rejection here today, but in front of FOMC and maybe the option rollover, it's kind of, I don't like to put too much cause in the causality of the market stopping here today. But certainly do have lighter volume, and you could make an argument on each of those cases. I'm just thinking prudence would say we might be holding off just a little bit more. Certainly looks like we're going to be putting more people in jail these days, but it looks like we might have found a high in Corrections Corporation of America. Symbol is CXW. That one had a nice little high on April 5th out here, $30.62, 11 million shares. Tried to bust above it on Friday on 4.2 million shares. Did close above, but it looks like we're going to be closing back below that, well, maybe not below that low. But a close back below $30.62 would be somewhat bearish on Corrections Corporation of America. So that's probably a good one that's going to give us a little signal out there of how much money people are going to be spending to put people in jail. Expedia, also kind of interesting out here. Looks like it may be finally making a bottom after kind of a nice little pattern out here. I'm looking at the March 9th lows, $31.43, 6.2 million shares. We got into that with half as many shares, 2.8 million shares on April 16th. Had one more test of it today, but that certainly looks like it's going to be short on volume. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little bit more consolidation, especially with the FOMC meeting, lighter volume over these next couple of days. What do we have here? About 7 minutes. You can give me a call at 877-927-6648. And someone sent me an email on LEDs. If that person has the opportunity to voice his opinion, call in 877-927-6648 and talk about that today. I talked a little bit about LED technology and the $60 light bulb, which I actually saw show up in the media over the weekend. Another one we want to be looking at is Liberty Property Trust. LRY is the symbol on that. Seeing a lot of these patterns here that we are pulling back, but not on a whole lot of volume. This is one of the ones that actually did kind of hit the highs on the same volume, pulling back on lighter volume today. So we want to probably be watching these if we do get some kind of move up over the next few days here. But one of the few that actually did test with higher volume, its higher high, or its last high, April 3rd high, $36.28, 1.1 million shares. Pretty much the exact same thing. Formed a nice little doji on Friday, giving pretty nice little signal. Pulling back on lighter volume today. Could be coming back to that $34.62 low of April 10th. But some of these REITs out here, everybody's talking about housing and getting into housing. Pretty hot part of the market right now. Let's see what we have out here. NetQuinn Mobility is another one that's kind of been bouncing around at highs, even with the fairly decent pullback we've had here. Another one that actually has had some kind of volume at the top. What I'm looking at in NetQuinn, which symbol is NQ, is the $12.19 high of March 27th. And that had almost 700,000 shares on that date. We actually had 1.2 million on April 18th. So there's a couple of them out there that have actually had high volume. Probably would like a little bit more of a pullback on these, but really not getting a lot of energy on the pullback on this one. Fairly inexpensive $12 stock, at least in the range of price. But not a bad little move out here. And, you might think that we would get at least one more try at $12.70 and a decent one to keep a little eye on out here. PACD, which is Pacific Drilling. Another one that looks like maybe it's made a little reversal signal today. A lot of lows back in the mid to lower $9 range back in the January, February, December time frame of last year. It went to a high of $11.47. We've got down to $11.25 today, making a neat little, what is that, dragonfly? I think that's what they call them. Doji here today. Certainly light volume, 260,000 shares so far. But some of these drilling companies look like they're trying to hammer out a bottom, just like the gold company stocks have. doesn't look like we're going to have a huge change in the end. With 15 minutes to go, still off 12 on the S&P, still light volume, so not a whole lot of additional coming in, but not a bad-looking chart out here. You could get a test of the February 10th, which is still a high-volume high, 2.3 million shares, so not a bad-looking little deal out here. To think that maybe $11.50 out of a $9 stock, so maybe 20% move out of that. Pacific Ethanol, another one that I had a little interest in here, and it just didn't pan out the way I was hoping to. Had a nice little move on Friday, and we'll continue to keep an eye on that, but it looks like one of those ones that almost like a heartbeat. We've talked about this as kind of the go-to option for being an option if we have oil displacement, let's say something in the Gulf because of a problem with Iran, something like that. PEIX had a nice move, had huge volume, actually pulling back here today around that $1 mark, so keep an eye on that one. Another one that's I'm tracking on here is RealPage, that is RP. Looks like it may have made a bottom, or it's going to try. We need to have it close above $18.43. That February 17th low had 4.2 million shares. We've been having a nice little consolidation that's drifted about $1.30 lower on this, but still just have had no volume in this pullback. RealPage, for a profile on it, take a look at it here. They are a on-demand software solutions for rental housing in North America. You would think if rental housing was doing that well, and they were doing okay, this would probably be doing a little bit more. Includes one site to manage leasing, rents, facilities purchasing, accounting, budgeting, and the living of multifamily housing and urban development. Well, there's one to keep your eye on if you think that this housing market and rental market is going to take off. You would think it would be much higher, though, but certainly, above $18.43 would be fairly interesting. And what else we have? Spectrum Communications. Looks like this thing is trying to make a bottom, and it might be close. A lot of these actually do need to make a little closer, a little high, or close above these last big swings, and this one is kind of no difference. $13.35 on March 1st. You had a pretty much high volume low in there at about 4 million shares. You'd love this thing to come in and test it, which it has gone below it. Last 2 days, 1.2 million shares. Probably going to be about 1.5 million shares today. Actually did test a long-term gap that goes back on big volume back to is that June 29th of last year. So it's kind of funny how these things do come back and find these gaps. But when we look at that gap, certainly a huge volume day, about 36 million shares. I'll have to probably find out what happened on that date, but 28 million shares. The next day it gaps up out of that. It's come back into that gap. It has now tested it. The only thing you would want is just a little insurance, and that insurance is closing over the last major low at $13.35. TiVo actually hit my scans. This is another one. I wanted to see how this thing did today. Not a whole lot out here. We'll be continuing with TiVo when we come back. But still plenty of time to give me a call, 877-927-6648. Still messing around minus 11, minus 12 on these S&Ps. No real bounce in here to the close so far. We'll be checking on the volume when we come back.
In the world of financial markets, there's a new player in town with an exciting new way to trade the markets. Nadex now offers binary options as well as bull spreads in a wide range of indices along with commodity and forex markets. With as little as $100, you can gain access to a new way to trade global financial markets while guaranteeing that your risk will always be capped. Nadex allows you to multiply your trading opportunities in ways never imagined before and access markets you once thought were out of reach. With short-term trading opportunities available, including binary options expiring each hour the market is open, Nadex allows you to take advantage of a variety of market conditions regardless of volatility or market direction. Now is the time to take advantage of this exciting new market. Don't let this trading opportunity pass you by. Open your account today by clicking on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Nadex, a better way to trade.
TFNN is proud to bring you the cutting edge of investment newsletters. Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks. Ken is a top-down investor who lets price and volume in the major stock indices tell him when to be in the market and when to be out. By using his unique blend of fundamental and technical analysis, Ken will protect your hard-earned capital while realizing breakout gains. Go to TFNN.com today, click Investment Newsletters, and get Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks free for 2 weeks.
At Tiger Metal Exchange, we pay you more for converting your jewelry to cash.
Let's go to Brian in New Jersey. Hey, Brian, what's going on?
Hey, Tom, just want to let you know I did give you some jewelry. My jeweler offered me about $650, but you get a check in the mail tomorrow for about $1,200.
At Tiger Metal Exchange, it's all about honesty when converting your jewelry to cash.
Okay, let's go to Paul in Florida first. Hey, Paul, what's going on?
I want to commend you on the Tiger Metal Exchange. I just did a deal with you guys the other day.
Oh, good.
I'm very happy.
Well, I appreciate it. Now, Did you sell us jewelry or did you buy coins off us?
I sold you jewelry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What we weighted at was less than you guys said, so, you're totally honest.
At Tiger Metal Exchange, we give you the tools to value your gold, and it's absolutely free. Call 866-618-8888 or log on to TigerMetalExchange.com. We've created the easiest, safest, and most honest cash for gold process. Tiger Metal Exchange. It's the only call you need to make.
Put the power of the Chapman Wave methodology to work for you. No matter what market you trade, what time frame you trade in, or your trading style, the Opening Call, Basil Chapman's daily market newsletter, is bursting with the information and trades you need to become a more successful trader.
I've been using Basil Chapman's Chapman Wave methodology for several years now. His Chapman Wave can be used for any time period for not only equities, but futures, currencies, commodities. I've been also a subscriber of his Opening Call, which I find an invaluable tool to help me analyze the potential of the market each day. He gives you opportunities to go short and long. It includes recommendations on stocks. I strongly recommend people using the Chapman Wave, and I very, very strongly support the use of his Opening Call.
To find out more about Basil Chapman and his Chapman Wave methodology, and to get your 2-week free trial of the Opening Call, a $64 value, visit TFNN.com today.
Here's what people are saying about Tiger TV.
Let's go to John in Tampa. Hey, John, what's going on?
Hi, Tom. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. You having a good day out there?
A wonderful day. I love your Tiger TV. I watch it every day. I'm like a kid in a candy store.
Oh, man, I appreciate you out there watching it. How long have you been watching the Tiger TV?
I'm watching almost a month now, and it's just wonderful.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Oh, yes, it's cool. You see the charts and everything. Thanks so much for the hard work.
Tiger TV, a great news service from TFNN.com. Catch Tom O'Brien, founder and CEO of TFNN, professional trader and educator. Also a special guest on CNBC, analyzing the commodity markets. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
As we get back, we got about 4 minutes before the end of the show. You can always give me a call, even quickly like now, at 877-927-6648. Having a little bit of movement, 3.2 billion shares getting into the a little less than negative 11 on the S&P. Be kind of interesting. It looks like a very tepid close, and we're still going to close down a little bit. So it'll be interesting in that. I did want to show just a couple of Gartley patterns that we have developing out here, so hopefully we'll have time to get these all in. The first one is Avalon Bay Communities. This one is setting up a bearish butterfly. Kind of have to keep an eye on this one, but certainly fairly light volume up here at these highs. Certainly not a lot of energy if you look at the power law vector indicator on the bottom. So we've got a few of these setting up. But your X point started out here September 8th at 137.93. We had a nice little low to start the A point at 107.54 on October 4th. We get our B point on October 27th, 136.40. Our C point on November 25th, 116.25. And it's we had a projection, gives you a projection for your D target for a bearish butterfly on AVB of $146.40. And, you know, the 120, we're very close, 145.25. And, you know, you'd like to see a lot more volume up at these highs, but some of these are actually not doing too badly up here on these. So we'll have to continue to keep an eye on some of these bearish butterflies that are actually doing fairly strong in a market that's been fairly weak. Let me pull back here just a second here. Yeah, still off 10 or so. Let me update real quick just to keep a close eye on it. Yeah, off 11, big deal. No change as we watch the volume into the close. Another one is Sim Group. SEMG is the symbol on it. Another bearish butterfly setting up. This one actually shows you how a lot of these can set up and then trigger off. I think maybe I brought this up on Friday out here. But actually, the target was $30.95. It got to $31.50 on a high on Friday, turned right back down around and closed, of course, lower today, actually filling a gap that it had off a fairly high volume move. So it's actually getting back down into some support. That day that we're looking at is 417, and it had 1.2 million shares off that day, and coming into it with about 500,000 shares. So a fairly good indication that maybe this thing had made all the way up to the top, but a nice bearish butterfly to set up. We'll finish this one out for the end of the day. That is the November 11th high of $29.57. Started your X point. Your A point came in on December 16th, $24.49. You had a nice January 5th high, $28.64. February 2nd, $26.09. And we got back out to Friday's high out here on April 30, $31.50 is your D point. And, of course, it went above, just a little above the projection for the bearish butterfly out here. But those things are kind of horseshoes and atom bombs. They get kind of close, and you kind of have to read it. But certainly, when you look at how it went above the B point and kind of jumped above it, you probably would like to see a lot more volume out of that one. But a bearish butterfly that has kind of turned the corner there. I see Tom is in the green room ready to fire up and go through earnings. So you all have a great day and a safe day. We'll see you on Wednesday.